All right, well, we are at 7 o'clock. I'm gonna start. Let me just make sure. I see Heather is here. I see Richard is here. I know Catherine is here. I know Attorney Simeone's here, Rick Salvo. All right, so let's get started. This is the February 3rd, 2021 meeting of the Revere Conservation Commission. As always, stand and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
flag,
of the United
States of America,
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, guys. All right.
You like that I still have my Christmas lights on, by the way? Isn't that festive?
You said it, not me. I wasn't gonna bring it up, but that's okay. You can just leave them as like Valentine's lights.
You know what? Anything that brings a little joy nowadays, right?
Absolutely, buddy. I hear you.
I think a lot of people have left them up.
Yeah.
It is nice to see them.
Nice. All right, let's do roll call. So Heather Legier,
Here.
Deborah Santiano McCatton,
Here.
David Etoff.
Here.
Joe Laval is not here yet. I'm sure we will expect him soon. We'll wait for Joe in a little bit. Robert Cassidy is absent, and Ann Raponi is also absent. She had a prior engagement. And I'm the chairman, Nick Molason. So if I can have a motion for the approval of the minutes from the January 6th meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All right, first item on the agenda is a public meeting for 22 Witten Ave. It's the ANRAD, and I know there's a lot of residents have called me and stuff as well on this, and thinking that we're going to be approving a development yet. We're not. This is just for resources. But I know we have Richard Java here. Richard, if you want to start, I would assume we can have you start. Did I catch you off guard?
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Richard. How are you, sir?
Oh, great. How are you? Thank you very much, Nick.
Name and address for the record, please, sir.
My home address is it's Richard Java.
Business address is
Derby
fine.
Street.
Yep.
And the address for my for the Fort Point Associates is 31 State Street, Boston, Mass.
Okay. All right. So if you can just, Richard, if you want to start and tell us what we got in the NRAD, what we're doing.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, Commissioners, for hearing us this evening. I'm here with Liz Bello from Redgate Capital Partners and with Katie Cruz from Hancock Associates. So we're Fort Point that I represent is working on the permitting for this ANRAD. Liz is is from Redgate, who is the applicant, and Katie is also supporting us with the survey plan and other wetlands information. So can I share a screen? Is that okay?
Absolutely, you can, sir. Yes.
Great. Okay, can you, there we go. Sorry. Can you see the screen now?
That's all right. Let me see if I can see it here. Can everybody else see the screen? Yep.
Yep.
See it. I see it, sir. Go ahead, Richard.
Sure. So again, this is for the 22 Witten Ave extension in Revere. Just briefly, the agenda is going to go over, I'm going to go over the existing conditions of the site and then go through each of the resource area delineations that we are requesting your approval for, and then discussion. But if you have any questions during it, please let me know. So the project, excuse me, the project's located at 22 Witten Ave at the confluence of the Pines and Saugus River, the Saugus River being on the north side, Route 1 being along the eastern side, Gibson Park along the south area, and the ramps coming off of Route 1A again on the south side. That's an approximately 14.5 acre site, including the water, but on the land side, it's approximately 4.5 acres. So this is a view looking at the parcels and the survey of the area. there are 4 parcels, the largest one being the main one where the current towing operation is. And on that parcel, there's 3 buildings. Next to it is the National Grid parcel towards the right. And then on the far right are the 2 other parcels. So again, the project site is mainly a relatively flat site at approximately elevation 10. FEMA elevation of 10. It's mostly within the flood zone, and I'll go over the flood zone areas in a minute. The site is completely developed along its entire borders and all the parcels with either buildings or pavement or gravel. And again, I'll go through that in a minute. So the resource areas that we're looking to get your approval on are the bordering vegetated wetlands, tidal flats, land containing shellfish, estimated habitats of rare wildlife, coastal bank, salt marsh, a fish run, riverfront area, and land subject to coastal storm flowage. So again, this is a view looking south, an oblique view looking south towards along the site. On the left side is the old bridge that still exists, but there are remnants of it. Some parking areas with vehicles, a building. Again, it's all pretty much level, flat area. There's buildings in the middle of it and parked cars right up to the edges of this completely developed site. This was originally marshlands that had been filled over the past 50 years or so. There was a marina that operated there, Fowler Marine. There are still some piers along the shoreline. And I think they're still currently in use. But essentially the entire shoreline's been developed. And I'll go through some of the pictures of that shoreline area. But behind all the shoreline, again, it's been all disturbed wetland resource areas. So this is a view looking south again along the pier I just mentioned towards the site and to a vertical seawall there. This is a view of the seawall in its failed condition. And along this resource area, you can see there's essentially a high tide line where the green is, but that's where the high water mark is approximately, with a lot of fill and rubble behind it. A little bit towards the west from that area is this salt marsh that's been somewhat impacted by the pavement that's been put in along the shoreline. Looking back from that salt marsh towards the site, you can see the edge of the shoreline and the developed portions of the site with vehicles parking along most of it, and the large marine shed that's there that's used for storage, and some of the piers and such within the water. Again, looking back from in front of those parked vehicles towards the south is this paved lot, currently vacant, but one of the buildings that's also on the site. This is a view looking towards the west from in front of that large building. As you can see, it is paved. There's little resource area left in this except for it being within the flood zone. This is a view behind the building looking along Gibson Park. Gibson Park is just over the fence on the left side. And there is some vegetated wetlands there that we'll point out in the resource area maps. And this is a view looking a little bit past the piers that I had shown, looking west along the shoreline, showing the riprap that's there now. Just to the right of that is some of the area that originally was, or previously was dredged down to about 5 feet below mean low water, but has since filled in, and it's somewhat marsh area and soft sediment there now, and some of the remnant piles there. And lastly, in the corner to the west is a view looking towards the east. These are actually old piles from the bridge that crossed over from the Boston, Maine Railroad that went to Revere Beach. So that's what this property borders, is that old railway, former railway. And this is a view of the wetlands looking from Gibson Park towards the site that you had just seen. So now I wanted to go through each of the wetland areas and explain where they are. And so again, this is the west side of the site. Looking in plan, north is on the top. And there is a bordering vegetated wetland. It's approximately 21 feet in length that runs just inside the property line. And extends further into Gibson Park on the south side. So that's the bordering vegetated wetland.
Okay.
Coastal bank. So coastal bank runs along the entire length of the shoreline, extending from the bottom of the bank, which is determined by slope, up to the top of the bank, again, which is determined by slope. So it's essentially the, excuse me, the entire shoreline running from east to west, including the vertical walls. And it has a 100-foot buffer zone that extends landward into the site. The riverfront area extends from the mean high water, which runs essentially the same place as the coastal bank, and extends 200 feet landward of that area. So extends into most of the site. The tidal flat extends from the base of the coastal bank seaward to the end of the property, or the mean low water line, excuse me. So it runs, it's essentially all the area between the base of the coastal bank and the mean low water, which is this double dashed line on the within the Saugus River. Salt marsh is contained within this purple area. That was demarcated, excuse me, that was determined by visual inspection of the site, and it's of that picture that we had just shown you earlier. So salt marsh runs within this purple red polygon area, and that's just below the mean high water mark. Fish Run is a resource that was determined by CZM and extends through the entire Saugus River out to the mouth of the river. And so within the site, it includes all the area up to the bank of the shoreline. So Fish Run represents the anadromous and catadromous fish that use the site, the river, for spawning and habitat. Land containing shellfish is determined by the MassGIS website reference that it includes these two separate areas on the east and west sides. Both of these resource areas are demarcated by this pink line on the, again, the east and west sides. There is a documented estimated habitat of rare wildlife that exists essentially within the water side of the site and extends from this purple line or red line to the east, further into the Saugus River. And land subject to coastal storm flowage it extends up into the, according to FEMA, to the elevation 10 on the site. So that includes most of the site except for a small portion around the building that's there on this east side, and to a portion that's outside of the zone on the southeast side. So that by topography or by elevation, that extends through the up to the 10 elevation 10. So those are the resource areas that again we wanted to go over. Let me know if any questions on them.
Any
Yeah.
listeners have any questions?
I have a question. Excuse me. I'm just looking to find out, you're just looking for us to confirm these resource areas, correct?
Correct, yes.
This is not an application for current building. Is there a building being proposed at this site?
This is, and I'll answer that. Heather, this is just to determine the resource areas. Anything that happens as far as development and building comes afterwards.
Okay,
They still gotta go through the order of conditions and all that other stuff with site plan review and everything. So this basically, because I know a lot of the neighbors called me and I told them, this is just to determine where the resource areas are.
okay.
Any other questions by any other commissioners?
Could we go back to the habitat, the estimated habitat?
Sure.
Could you clarify how that was established? It seems like a very random line.
So that's established by the state Natural Heritage Species Program, where they determine for the whole state where all these potential or existing wildlife areas exist. There are several within like Boston Harbor, one in, and this one in particular was for the least, the common tern, I believe. And again, it extends much further, but this is just a portion of it. So that's a state determined resource area.
Do you know what kind of rare wildlife there that lies within this area?
A common tern,
The what?
common
Common tern.
tern,
Oh, okay.
and you'll see them there flying around.
They're a bird that is a pain, just like the piping plovers. You know? All right, any other questions by any other of my commissioners? I know we got a couple other people here from Redgate. If you guys have anything you want to add, more than welcome to unmute yourself and add anything. But I don't see any other questions from us at the moment. I think we're all set. All right, so if, do I have a motion to approve the NRAD as determined?
I'll make the motion.
David will make the motion. Do I have a second? Do I have a second by one of my commissioners to make the motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Heather Legier. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, and I know I had gotten a call earlier. I forgot to mention this. Bob O'Brien from the city is obviously in favor of this project. We've been on a community meeting that's been happening the last 3 or 4 months or so with Redgate and everything for the Revere Riverfront. So we pretty much know what's going to be happening down here, and it's all public of what they want to put up. And Redgate's been a good partner to the city, so I think it's something great for the city. But Bob just wanted to call and say that he was in favor of this project as well for these resource areas as well. But I know we have some other stuff, Richard, to still deal with the National Grid parcel and stuff, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about that in the next few days or so.
Okay, great. Thank you very
All right,
much.
sir? All right.
Yes, appreciate.
Thank you guys so much, and thank you everybody from Redgate, everyone that attended. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you, commissioners. Appreciate it.
All right, next item on the agenda is 16 and 14 Beverly Street. They have actually requested to continue the meeting until next month. They are in talks with the city engineer to try and come up with some sort of a game plan for stormwater management. So they are not on the agenda. They are continued until next month. Next item is 320 Revere Beach Boulevard, which is a project that we gave an order of conditions to 3 years ago, which is coming up to expire. They're just asking to extend the order of conditions, I believe, until May of 2022. Who's here for I know you don't look like Rick Salvo, that bottom picture there, but
This Eric Bradnesi from Engineering Alliance. I'm here on behalf of Rick Salvo. I had to log in with his Zoom invite, so
Eric,
I'm not really sure how to change my name down the bottom there.
No, don't worry about it. Eric, just spell your last name for me.
It's B as in boy, R A D as in Dan, A N E S E.
Perfect. All right, so okay, this is pretty simple thing what they want, and a lot of the developers do it. The project takes a little longer than expected, and they just need an extension on the order of conditions.
Exactly, and there it's just to do some fine grading, landscaping, and then the final paving. That's all that's left to
We
be
want
done.
to extend it till when? May of 2021 or May of 2022?
2022.
2022. So we want to extend it to May of 2022. Any of my commissioners have any questions for him? All right, so do I have a motion to approve the extension till May of 2022?
Sure. I'll approve it.
David makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Heather Legier. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. All right, that item is closed out. So next item on the agenda is for 83 Bennington Street. So here's what we need to do first. 83 Bennington Street originally, about 2 years ago, got an order of conditions to put up in a small apartment building, which never went through. So we need to file a certificate of compliance with the state to just say the project was never completed. So that's what we're voting on right now, is to just issue the certificate of compliance on the basis that the project was never completed. So they can close out that file number, and then 83 to 93 got issued a new file number. So I'm not sure, Eric, if you want to add to that or anything, but that's pretty
Yeah,
basic what it is.
That sums it up pretty well, actually.
Any of my commissioners have any questions for me or for Eric or anything about it? All right, if not, do I have a motion to approve the certificate of compliance?
I'll make the motion.
David makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Heather. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, so next item on the agenda is 83 to 93 Bennington Street. And I know Rick Salvo dropped off some plans to me earlier. There was some comments from DEP that they needed to change some stuff with the stormwater. So Eric, if you could take over from here and let us know what the changes are and what's happening, that'll be great.
Absolutely, yeah. I think I can share my screen here, right? Give me 1 second.
Yeah, you
Sorry.
should be able to. You should have permission to.
So, DEP had made a quick comment about the stormwater. They had asked about the groundwater elevation and some of the soil conditions out there. We had received there was some soil borings that were done on the property on both sides, the previous 83 Bennington and then the 93 Bennington side, that were provided in the updated information we gave you guys. Basically, the big change was that groundwater was higher than we anticipated. Groundwater is only about like 3 to 3.5 feet below the ground surface out there. So our previous stormwater system had some ADS pipe in the back that went down about 5.5 feet or so. And so since we were impacting the groundwater table, we eliminated that. And the entirety of the parking area is going to be porous asphalt. And so the stone bed beneath that porous asphalt will infiltrate directly. It has the proper separation of groundwater. There were some questions about groundwater mounding. In the updated report, we gave you guys some groundwater mounding calcs that show that we'll still have enough volume above the groundwater mounds to meet the stormwater standards. And the only thing that did stay the same as in the previous design was there is an 8-inch overflow pipe over here. So this stone bed in the back has this overflow pipe set up about 1 foot from the bottom of stone, so that in the 100-year storm event, rather than overtopping the pavement, there'll be a small discharge. I think it's like 0.3 CFS or something that will discharge out of that stone bed there. But the stone bed's been sized to hold all the storms up to the 25-year storm event, and then in the 100, there's that small discharge out. As far as other plan changes, there was just a little bit of grading that changed. We had catch basins and water quality manholes back here previously, and that's just all been updated to be the porous asphalt where it'll directly infiltrate. again, the DEP comments just were all pertaining to the groundwater, and then they had a question about the water quality manhole, but that's been removed, so it's all been addressed.
Any questions by the commissioners? I know Deb, you had some questions for me before we started.
Yes, Rick, I was just wondering on the soil borings and how the tests came out there. I think it was Appendix E, which I actually hadn't seen because I guess it came through today. And Nick mentioned that there was some possible petroleum odor. Can you kind of elaborate on what you found with the soil borings there?
So the soil borings themselves have there's 5 to 7 feet of just like sandy fill that's pretty well draining. Then beneath that is sort of as anticipated out there as previous marshland, right? So there's some organics that go down from 5 to 7 feet deep down to about 15 to 18 feet deep. So it's about 10 feet of that. And then below that is some silty clay soil at the very, very bottom. As far as the petroleum, I unfortunately can't really expand on that a lot. We have some geotech information that I can double check and get over to you guys that I haven't had a chance to really get a good hard look at, but I'm happy to.
It was only in the first 8 feet, Eric. It just says a petrol odor.
Okay.
I'm just curious about it. That's all. I'm assuming both of these properties have clean 21Es. They must.
They do. They do. Yes. Like I said, I have, and I have no problem providing it to you guys. I have, we received a geotech report that was done a few years back that does state there's clean 21E, and then there's a little bit of an expansion. That's where the soil borings that were in Appendix E came from. So I can provide that to you guys if you'd like.
Yeah,
to
if you can email it to me, it'd be great, so I can send it to the other commissioners, so they can.
Sure. Yep, no problem at all.
Rick, when was the 21E done?
Hang on one second. I can, if you give me 1 minute, I can try to find it for you. Hang on, sorry.
And who came in to clean the area up back then?
Give me 1 moment. Let's see. It looks like this report I have is pretty extensive. It looks like the latest date I've got on the 21E is 2012. But this is so I'll have to get you guys the report that has the full information in it. Like I said, the latest one it looks like it says 2012, and then unfortunately I'm having a little bit of a hard time finding the name of who completed it. But I'll provide you guys with this report. It has all this info in it. I'm sorry I didn't have that, right ready to go this second.
That's all right.
Thank you.
So we want the boring test results, and you're going to figure out the 21E when it was last done.
Yeah, like I said, I can provide the reports to you guys. It's all that information is in those reports. The borings that were in the drainage report were actually pulled directly from these reports. It was just there's like 1,000 pages in one of these reports. So just to kind of save space here.
If you can email that to me, it'll be great.
I absolutely can. Yep.
To the commission so they can read it.
Yeah, no problem at all.
I have a
Eric,
question
when were
too.
One second.
I'm sorry, Eric, when were the old tanks taken out? The old gas tanks?
That is again another thing I think that's in that report. Unfortunately, I don't know the answer off the top of my
All
head.
right, we'll wait for the report. Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry about that.
Heather,
Okay.
you have a question?
Yeah, could you just tell me what it was that you said that DEP eliminated in the back? You said that was there a catch basin or something in the back to instead go ahead and have the water kind of leach through the gravel? Can you just explain it one more time?
Absolutely. I can actually show you the difference on the plans. 1 second here. So this is the original grading and drainage plan. And so behind the building, we had shown these big dashed lines back here. We had shown some ADS pipe that was going to be below this open at-grade parking back here. So there were catch basins to a water quality manhole that drained into these ADS pipes. And then there was this overflow pipe I told you that stayed here. That overflow pipe came out to the closed drainage system in Bennington Street. So what ended up happening is our pipe was about a foot or so too low based on the from the borings, the estimated season high water table. So what we did was basically all this infrastructure, so the pipes, the manholes, the catch basins are all eliminated. And now the plan is just porous asphalt where it will directly infiltrate. Actually, I still have that right here. So that's this plan here. So all that stuff has been eliminated. The roof will drain down into the stone bed beneath. And then this outlet pipe is set about a foot to a foot and a half above the bottom of the stone here. So basically, we still provide all the required volumes, required recharge, required water quality volume to meet all the stormwater standards. It's just we've eliminated those structures and any adverse impact on the groundwater separation.
Did they not want to add to the effluent that's going into the system or something?
No, it's so there's the DEP has a requirement where you have to have at least 2 feet of separation from a system to the to the groundwater table, and there's also a separate requirement where if you don't have 4 feet of separation from the groundwater elevation to the bottom of your system, you have to provide groundwater mounding analysis. So we had not met that separation because the groundwater is only 3 feet below grade, so we couldn't get that 4 feet. So what we ended up doing was making the system a lot more shallow to provide the correct separation, and then also provided those mounding analysis to show that we're still providing enough volume above those mounds to meet all the stormwater standards.
Okay.
All right, any other questions by any other commissioners? So it's basically, you know, this is something that even if we approve, the DEP is gonna kick it anyways because of that. So we would, you know, we would approve it based on DEP's recommendations anyways. Do I have a motion to approve this as stated?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Heather Legier, seconded by
Seconded.
Deborah Santiano McCatton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, Eric, and I know I talked to Rick earlier today. We're gonna do some paperwork stuff as far as closing out the old one and getting the new one done. But
Right,
tell him
right.
I'll give him a buzz later on or tomorrow or something.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll get you guys, Nick, I'll shoot you over that report.
Yeah, if you can get me those reports, it'll be great, just so I can forward them to the commissioners, they can read them.
Absolutely, no problem.
All righty, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you guys so much.
All right, so do I have a motion to close out that public hearing, because that was a continued public hearing.
I'll make that
to
motion.
close it out.
Motion by David, seconded by, who seconded? Heather or Deborah?
Debbie,
Debbie. All right. All right, last item on the agenda was an added item, was 46 Arcadia Street. Was certificate of compliance, Andrea Gail Bennett. They got an order of conditions for us, I believe it was last year or the year before. She remodeled the house, did all the work. I sent all you guys the pictures. I'm not sure if you've seen them. The only reason why I put this in for a late item was because she's closing on the house on Friday, and I don't want to hold her off until March. It wouldn't be fair. And where the project was done to what we wanted, I was okay with adding it to the agenda. So Andrea, if you want to just unmute yourself and just give your name and address for the record.
Andrea Gail Bennett. My address is 19 Francesca Drive, Lynn, Massachusetts.
All right, and I know we looked at the pictures, and I know I emailed you back. The house looks incredible, by the way. I think you guys did a great job inside remodeling it, and I'm not sure if my commissioners have any questions. I know Joe had emailed me back, and I know Joe's not on with us now. You want to just make sure that there was the like the openings in the foundation for the water to flow through, which I've seen. There's small windows, the garage doors, and everything all qualified for that. So it does make it up to spec and up to standard of what we need.
We did it per the architect and the engineering plans.
Correct. Yep, which is what was approved in the order of conditions. Perfect. All right. So with that being said, my commissioners don't have any questions. Do I have a motion to approve this, please?
I'll make a motion.
Someone raising their hand. All right, Heather makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by David Etoff. All right.
Yeah,
Andrea,
that was me who accidentally hit the raise hand button.
oh, okay, all right. That's why I was looking. I looked up. Andrea, I'll give you a call tomorrow and you can stop by my office and grab this certificate of compliance.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Hey, no problem. You're welcome. I
Good
know
luck.
we have Attorney Simeone is on here for some reason. Is he here? Attorney Larry Simeone, I see him signed in. I just want to make sure there wasn't anything he needed from us. But I don't think so, but that's all the items I have on the agenda. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by David Etoff. Do I have a second?
Second,
Second
Third.
by,
fourth,
all
fifth.
right, guys, have a good night. Be safe.
Hold it, Nick, I just want to ask you, and is there anything we can do? I know this is legal, but I'm just a little frustrated with it. The duck hunting, it's a short season. You know, they have 500 feet, I think, from houses. They were a little close this year.
Yeah,
But there was one, it was kind of disturbing when I walked down the beach, and I didn't stop to look, but there were 3 species that were just dead, which occasionally you see a seagull.
yeah.
But it seemed to be the same timing that the hunting might go on.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, as conservation, is there anything we can approach this with? And I'm not quite sure why it's legal here.
I don't know why either. All we can do is call the environmental police. There's really nothing we can do as far as conservation.
I know a little bit about it because I hear it all day. We call every year on it, but they say that there's a legal hunting area over there. The hunters, I guess their shot only goes like a certain amount of feet, so it doesn't come anywhere near the houses. And
Yeah.
we bring it up every year, and there's just nothing you can do about it.
That's
I
crazy.
know there were a couple of years ago when I used to walk the beach, there would be the shell casings all over the beach.
Yeah.
I don't know if that continues, but I say, and I also know they're supposed to pick, you know, the duck up. And I just thought it was kind of odd that
And
there were.
unfortunately, there's nothing we can do. We'd have to just call the
Okay.
environmental police. But I see it.
All right.
Attorney Larry Simeone.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir. How are you?
I was just here because I know we were continued to this date on 320 Charger, but we did get a signed and approved order of condition.
Everything, yeah, because it got
So we're
all,
all good.
yeah, we got all taken care of once the DEP file number was issued.
Yeah, I spoke with Rick Salvo. We thought someone should be here in case a neighbor or somebody asked questions.
I
All right,
appreciate
thank
it.
you very much.
Thank you, attorney. All right, so we are adjourned. Have a great
Good
night.
night, everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Night.
Bye.
Safe.